Alright, dude, that was a great idea to suggest reviewing anime and a few new albums since we're all in fucking quarantine.
Yeah, we're not doing anything.
I don't know what else we're doing, though. Like, there's nothing really much else to do, so what anime should we start with?
Well, I was thinking My Hero Academia, since, it's got a lot of hype around it right now, and it's looking really good so far.
And the movie did just come out, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
I mean...
It was really good, that one.
Sorry to say, I haven't actually watched it yet.
Dude, you haven't actually seen all the way up to the present point of the show? How have you not seen the best anime of all time?
Dude, I was too busy watching the best anime of all time.
Which is?
I think you know.
Oh, I know. Oh, that was glorious. Welcome, everyone, to the FireStorm podcast. Today we are reviewing... Well,
Not My Hero Academia.
That's oddly topical to say reviewing, because we are reviewing the best anime of all time. And that is Interspecies Reviewers.
Pranked.
Which is incredible.
Pranked. We lured you in saying we were going to fucking review My Hero.
Yeah,
I'm going to change it.
Take that, losers.
After a few days, I am going to change it, the thumbnail and everything, but no.
For now, it's April Fools. Get pranked.
Get pranked. Oh, yeah, did you notice the date? Bitch.
Yeah.
April 1st.
Shouldn't have fallen for that one.
No. So, yeah, since this COVID-19 is making everything shit, and like everything's just it increases in how bad it is every fucking day. So we thought, well, rather than continuously chat about it, for the next month and a bit, we're going to talk about certain anime and talk about it and review some albums. We're gonna like take in turns. One week's gonna be an anime, the other week's gonna be an album review.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. And we kind of just followed into the absurdity that was Interspecies Reviewers. And
it took some digging to actually find it, but we found it.
And we watched like episode 12 the day after it premiered. So...
Yes.
Yeah, we...
Needless to say, we're big fans.
Now, okay, I'm going to be completely honest. With the FireStorm podcast, with the amount of dumb shit we've done, I don't really care. Like, I normally don't give a shit. If any of my mates or my family find this, or people that want to hire me for future employment, then I don't care. The one episode I discourage them from watching is this one. Because I am going to go into detail of what the fuck happens in most of the episodes, because it's all absurd, but also incredibly funny. You have to be...
It's so funny.
I have to say, I think you have to be a hardcore anime fan to actually understand and enjoy the absurdity of this.
And your sense of humor has to be a little twisted as well.
Yeah.
I think.
If anyone's coming from the outside... and this is one of the first things they watch, they're going to be scarred.
Luckily, this is not, like, one of those readily available shows. Like, its TV deal got stopped in Japan, so it wasn't, like, I don't know what the deal with that was.
I think it was...
They definitely didn't allow it on any streaming sites in the West.
No, so. They moved it to a few different, like, it was thrown about to different, like, television stations, and then they had to censor a lot of it heavily. And then there was a simulcast on, I think, Funimation or Anime Lab, or one of them. I think Funimation. But then
it was Funimation.
They only dubbed episode 1, and then when all the backlash over episode 3 came in, they can't. Well, not the backlash, but they realized just how fucked it was by episode 3. They cancelled it. Yeah. So I've actually sought out and watched episode 1 of the dub. It's terrible. So sub is pretty much the way to go, since the sub,
the voices in Japanese are all just great.
Yeah,
like the delivery is on point. It's so good.
It besides the fact that the show is based around what it is, everything from like the voice acting, the music, and everything else is actually really, really good.
Yes.
Like I love
Like,
the opening and ending.
The thing I like so much about it is like it kind of represents like modern humor almost, because we went from like early and like 2000s like memes, basically like you know, you had your what kind of like 2000s memes, they were just dumb, and because they were dumb they were funny. But now it's like nowadays we've moved on, we've like evolved, I guess, to the point where dumb things by themselves aren't funny anymore. You have to have something dumb and then take it way too seriously, and that's exactly what the show is.
Yeah.
It's like just this really dumb concept taken almost taken too seriously, but like they realize how dumb it is, and the writing is just fantastic. Oh my god, the writing is probably my favorite part of this show. Like the character dialogue and stuff, it does not miss a beat. It flows so well, and it's so funny.
One
It's
thing I made a note
hilarious.
of in all my episode, like when I wrote up my feelings about every episode, one thing I made a note of is that every single character is written extremely well. Like none of the characters are unlikable. Every single one has like their own draws to them. Like even the side characters that are in for one episode, they're all written that well that you like them. None of them are dicks. Like they're all really good or really funny.
But they use their dicks a lot.
Well, let's get into that.
Yeah.
So yeah, just forewarning, if you don't know, Interspecies Reviewers is basically in a genre called sex comedy, where it's all about comedy, but then the art style and the presentation is essentially a hentai. So yeah, that's why I'm encouraging people.
I don't think you actually see a dick in the show though, or any like.
You see a lot of
genitalia.
silhouettes.
Yes.
Actually, okay.
But I don't think you actually see any genitalia.
You know, one thing I found, you do actually see vagina.
Where? I'm
okay.
I forgot.
Okay.
Probably just because like I don't care.
Because I noticed something weird. It's like, I don't know if they updated the intro halfway through the season or if it was the different Raw that we watched. Like, but about halfway through the season, at least where we watched it, in the intro, there's a clip of a bunch of chicks laying on the bed. And then if you pause, and it's like, it pans up, but if you pause it, it's just there. And it's just like, they don't actually show it in the show, but in the intro, they're like, fuck yeah, stick your ass out.
Yeah.
So.
God.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Anyway, I'm gonna mention this now because I don't want to rave on too much about it in the future, but I love the music in this. The intro music,
Yes.
Let's Go to Paradise, and the outro song, I forgot what the outro song is called, but they are fucking jams. They are, and both of them have the three main characters, voice actors singing, and they're really good as well. So
Yeah.
jams, good stuff.
This is just great. I love this show. It's so dumb, and I love it. It's so good.
So, do you want me to read out what I've written down and then you add comments to it, or how do you want to go about this?
Yeah, just breeze through it. I don't have notes for the first half, just because I only started taking notes after that.
So, the show kind of draws you in by like, in the first 2 minutes, it kind of like pretends that it's like, oh yeah, this is just a classic fighting, like, what is it, like shoujin show. It's like, it's just full of fighting monsters
shonen,
and all that. And then it's just like, nah, motherfucker. And then it gets immediately into the let's fuck attitude, introducing Sakyu girls. And every single race is available to fuck. And there's a lot of races.
Oh yeah. There's a lot.
Introduces the main duo of Stunky and Zell. And these two just have a great dynamic. They're really funny and really well written.
They're literally just two bros going around and having as much sex as they possibly can.
And it's really funny because
it's incredible.
Like the entire show hints at their, like, at least Stunky's past, with him like apparently being a part of a royal family or a noble family, and he's just like,
noble family.
We don't talk about that. We fuck here. Yeah. It's just like, it's really funny. But yeah, so they're the main duo. They're really good. It introduces a reoccurring character, Midori, who's like the head waitress of the.
What an absolute babe, dude!
I know the head waitress of the Ale and Eats. She's a babe, and she's also a birdman, which is like half
she has
human,
like bird,
half bird.
like yeah, she's like the bottom half of her legs, like her calves are bird legs,
and then wings.
And she also has wings. But other than that, and I think she might have like something on her head. I can't remember what it is though. But maybe she doesn't.
No. That literally has a made headdress thing. It's not. It's not an actual part of the bird thing. I know too much about this show, so
it's okay. I've spent a little extra time looking at Majory myself, so what can I say?
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. It's like that one time where they're like, because we can't show this, here is Majory taking a bath, and he's like, bless.
Sometimes if it gets really absurd where it knows people won't want to watch it, it just says, okay, well, here's Majory doing something else. And it's just like, we appreciate that. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, so then it does show off that Stunky and Zell are meant to just be adventurers by them, like, killing monsters and stuff, and they save an angel, but then it's later review that they actually make more money doing reviews, which is really funny. But when I say reviews, they review brothels, because this entire town apparently has a giant brothel.
They review the fuck. They review the smash. I love when they meet Krim the Angel, because like literally within a minute or two of first talking to him, they're like, "Can you take us to heaven? We want to see how good angel pussy is."
Do they have brothels in heaven?
Yeah,
what?
Exactly.
It's just like they literally said we're curious to know if they got.
That's literally all they think about, and it's hilarious.
It's pretty mint. The angel was pretty cute, but don't let that fool you.
He is a massive schlong. The best running joke of the entire show is that Krim, who looks like a girl at first glance, part of the joke is that he has both genitalia, but the genitalia of a male and a female simultaneously. Like they both exist down there, which is uncomfortable as hell to think about. But also, like, he has his schlong is fucking massive.
And
it's bigger than...
literally, one of the best quotes is in a later episode when they go to, I think, the public brothel, and then it's something about it's like, dude, you got sunlight coming from your pants or something like that. I don't remember. I wrote it down. I'll read it later, but the entire thing. There's
also that part where they go to the that role play place, and they're like, "You want to see his massive dick?" And they just lift up his thing, and he's just like, "Whoa, which one of you wants to sit on his meat sword?"
Yeah, that's it.
Oh no, it's so good. I love how they're just not even like mad that he has the biggest dick. They're just like, "Look, here it is."
I know. They're just like, "Damn, boy, good on you."
They're just totally on board with it.
They're just lads. They're just lads.
Exactly, dude.
I call Krim a they throughout the entire thing, because he says he's a guy at the start just to apparently keep Zell and Stunky from doing anything weird. Which I don't blame him, considering them. But I call them a they because not only he says he's a guy, but then it keeps literally when he turns into one of the waitresses or waiters, they keep panning on his ass for some reason. But I don't know why. It makes me uncomfortable. Now the one. So apparently, now is it this episode that? No, they mention at it, but I don't think did they go to a bird-made brothel at the very start, or is that later on?
It's near the start
because they somehow hint at the fact that I think it is in the first episode, because they hint at the fact that birdmaids, like when they're coming, they make bird chirping sounds.
Yes,
and then
I remember that.
They like tickle.
And they're very sensitive, like everywhere.
Yeah, and they tickle Majory's neck, and then she gets really pissed off. So it's just like, it's a big oof. But that I don't know how I felt about that at first, but my favorite quotes from the episode is, "We're curious to know if they got brothels in heaven." And then Stunky and Zell is just like, more like coming into heaven. And then the other one's like, oh my god, big dream. Just like, big dream. That's right. They do they do go to a mermaid brothel in the first episode, because then there's a quote after, because they take Krim there, who's a virgin. It's just like, the party was joined by a pure, undefiled angel who was immediately defiled.
That's the best. That's the best quote, dude. A pure, undefiled angel who was immediately defiled. Like, that is the entire nature of this show.
Yeah. The one thing that fucks me over is that this was purely just a sitcom sex comedy, a sex comedy, basically. And
yes,
I was really drawn into Krim's character for some reason, as someone that was just a nervous virgin at the start, and by halfway through the season, he's lusting for pussy. It's so funny. He's literally chasing that puss, and it's so funny.
He never it's never so he doesn't show it, but he goes off and he does his own review while Stunk and Zell are away. So even though he's not outwardly horny, he's just he goes and reviews a place anyway without being prompted.
I'm sure there's one. So I'm sure there's one bit where they're literally
character development.
I'm sure there's one bit though later in the season where Stunk and Zell have to pull him and Kancho, the halfling, back because they have to review. I think it's the Cyclops brothel. But they see these other brothels with giant tits, and then both Krim and Kancho are reaching at. What's the? Yeah. It is just Krim, you horny bitch.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's they draw you in. That's the whole joke of that place. I think is they're massive they're just wildly huge. They'd draw you in.
Yeah, it's fucking
we almost
great.
got sucked into the titty vortex of the of that one place. The Minotaurs.
Episode 2, it starts with them immediately comparing dick sizes.
Yes.
And then during their reviews, they notice every review with Krim giving their opinion in is making the group more money. So it's just cuteness sells, huh? Alright. So they try to bring Krim along for more reviews.
Yeah.
They start off with they go to a fairy brothel, and the receptionist has to fucking ride their dicks just to get a measurement. And it's just
because
Jesus.
Not all fairies can take them.
And then, so Stunk can only go for 2 different fat berries. Zell can choose up from at least 20 chicks. Kanchel, the halfling, gets anyone he wants because he's got a tiny penis, huh? And then Krim can't have any fairy because he has the biggest penis out of the whole group. And then
so good.
In the review, he's just I got ripped off, literally. I had to pay an entrance fee, and then I was told I can't fuck anyone. It's just oh,
1 out of 10.
Next, they introduce kind of a subplot that's not referred to again until the last episode of a giant demon lord who's voting to run the government because they have votes and stuff. But the demon lord is literally a 10-foot flat-chested chick, and it's just really confusing.
A 10-foot lolly.
10-foot lolly. And then the orc party is said to be currently running the governments, and the orcs are actually pigs? I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
Demon 2, who actually looks like an orc but is actually a demon, has realized that the reviewers, they actually bring a lot of attention to the races they fuck. So he gives the group a card and says, go to a demon brothel, you won't regret it. And then they don't go to the demon brothel because they see a cow brothel. And the cow chicks have the biggest tits. So they're just no. No. Literally, I wrote here, Demon 2 wants the group to quest to fuck and review demon girls to raise their popularity. Now that's a plot I can get behind.
Yeah.
But no. Then they see the cow chicks, and then it again gets incredibly close to showing them fucking because it shows Stunk sucking on a cow tit and getting the milk, and then reacting to it. And it's just like, fuck. That's
damn.
Wow. My favorite quotes: "Eat, sleep, and fornicate. That is the key to happiness." I want that on a poster. I want that on a fucking poster.
I want that on a t-shirt.
Yes. There was the one part when they're reviewing about the worst races to be in a relationship with. And then they talk about undead. It's just like, undead, some are just bones. Like, what? And then when, I don't know, he gets into an argument with Demon 2, Stunk does, and he's just like, well, fuck off then, you Piccolo wannabe, while flipping off Demon 2. That's so good.
God, I love... They just do not give a shit, and it's amazing.
Again, the writing is phenomenal. It's just so good. I love it so much.
Yes.
Episode 3... Perhaps the one that was the most controversial, because that's when Funimation realized that, oh, this is a fucked up anime. It's episode 3.
These guys are fucked up.
Episode 3, or as I like to call it, me and the boys turning into hot chicks and fucking other chicks. Yeah. So the gang...
Dude, that's the lifelong dream.
Oh, dude. The gang heads to the Gender Swap Inn, and with that name alone, you can tell it's time for shenanigans. The thing that stuck out to me about the transformation, it was really funny, I don't know why, when Kanchel was transforming, the halfling was just laughing the entire time. Yeah. I don't know why, I just thought that was hilarious. And then Crim's elephant just disappears and turns into a clam, signifying that they've lost their penis and they now just have a vagina.
Yep.
Now, them checking each other out was just really extremely weird.
Yes. And then dude, I won't lie, dude. Zell, the as a girl elf, dude, that was hot.
Then they force the angel down, spreading her legs to check out her vagina. So it's just like, don't force an angel on the ground. Come on. And then how shy they got was just like, oh my god, I actually feel bad. But they gender swap just to fuck another girl. I mean, makes sense. But now Crim is checking out a guy magazine, and it's just like, oh no, Crim's gonna fuck a guy. So
so he fucks the hyena chick who also has a dick.
So apparently the hyena girls all have both genitalia as well. So Crim, wanting to just be a woman and knowing that the rest of the group is only choosing women, chooses the hyena chick. So she at this point can experience fucking just as a girl, because he's always used his dick before. And when it gets explicit, I think, who was it? Zell, as a woman, goes for a slime girl because they don't hurt during penetration. Yeah. It's like... And then the explicit thing of, like, Kanto being held down and fucked with a vibrator is just like, wow.
Yeah,
Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, so that... that was kind of the most...
so ridiculous.
It is. I didn't have any favorite quotes for this because literally that was the whole episode.
Oh, yeah, it was.
And
it was just them, like, figuring it out.
I understand why Funimation and everyone was just like, okay, maybe not. maybe we shouldn't review, like, have this. But, yeah, with how explicit and the shots they use, it was like, wow. Alright.
Yeah, right.
Episode 4, it's all about them going to succubus, because apparently succu girls are just the races, like different races of chicks, but the chicks, it's their own brothels, so they're called succu girls.
Yeah.
But there's actual succubi in the show, and low-level ones are sex-crazed bitches, which go fucking wild. Literally, and there's one shot of a succubi humping the window, and it just leaks, and it's like,
Yeah.
ew, what the fuck? And then like Krim's just like, guys, are you sure you want to do this? And Stunky becomes a fucking mad lad. He's just like, if we don't do this, who will? And then Zell just uses his spells to buff them up, and then they all go in to a kick-ass soundtrack. But then they get utterly destroyed until a bunch of pig orcs run in and destroy all the succubi. But apparently they were fucked that intense. I think it was Bruce, the what is he, like a bear man or something like that? I forgot what the race is called.
Yeah.
Stunk and Zell, they get fucked so hard that it takes them 3 weeks to recover.
Yeah, because there's like so many girls, so they're just all crazed for it. Like they just want the juices, so they just drain it out of you until you can't produce it anymore.
No. And then
I'm pretty sure that's a way you can die. Is like because your heart rate speeds up when you jizz, like you can actually get a heart attack.
Yeah.
Luckily, they're okay.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
The fuck. And then Zell explains it as it's no different from suicide.
Yeah.
And then I think this is like halfway through this part, or it's either halfway through this part or at the next part is when they first cut to Midori, and it's just like, due to certain restrictions, please enjoy this scene of Midori taking a bath. So
thank you.
Yeah, I forgot if it was during the succubi bit or during the next bit, which they go on a quest because they're still recovering from fucking, and they go to a restaurant where you can literally eat cooked food off of a femme flesh salamander's body, which are that
who's
hot.
A chick and is hot. Yeah.
Yes, and they're that hot, literally hot, that they can cook food on them. So they drown themselves in like barbecue sauce and cook food on them. And then like the guys were saying, we would review you for our thing, but you're too hot.
Yeah.
Except Krim is resistant to heat.
Yep.
So Krim goes and fucks that bitch, and it shows her being like, all right, I'm gonna delving into barbecue titties, and then literally licks that bitch up, and it's so fucking funny. It's so funny. And then at the end of the episode, it's just Krim after the orgasm going, thank you for the meal.
Yes.
It's like, oh no.
Domo arigatou gozaimasu.
So
I just love the idea that just like you put like a little slab of meat down and then you can just like eat it, like pick it up with your mouth, like from her tits.
And what is it, like they double penetrate her with bread rolls or something? I forgot what they did.
Something like that.
That was
Who
fun.
knows?
Like, it's just that now you're gonna cook it with your mouth. And it's like, oh no, don't do this. But
oh no.
Okay.
No mercy. They just have no mercy.
Episode 5 is when they introduce the Cyclop girls. Starts off with a motherfucker looking like he's dressed for the KKK. And then it shows Krim returning because he went back to the salamander bar, to the salamander brothel to fuck that bitch. And then everyone in the bar applauds Krim. Oh, I love that so much.
That's the camaraderie we like to see.
Yeah, exactly. Then they introduce Cyclop girls, and then I wrote, where's Leela from Futurama when you need her?
Yeah, right.
Oh god. And then what did I write? I think Krim is fucking funny, and their development from being ashamed of fucking to literally lusting after big booty bitches in this episode is something special.
It's something special.
Yes, it is. It is special. It's fucking
that's
hilarious.
called character development right there.
It is.
The most compelling character arc of this whole year.
So the prank with the Cyclops girl is that they are judged by eye size, not tit size.
So, like, they're offered sizes, like, from the receptionist, like, what size do you want? And, like, one of the, I think it was, like, Stunk or somebody, is like, the biggest ones you got. And this chick with a giant fucking eye just, like, comes out and is like, what?
Giant eye and no tits, because he's severely disappointed. But, okay, I think with, like, every one of these things, it's always Stunk that goes first. He's always, like, the head of the group. So he always chooses first. But, and one thing I haven't mentioned and didn't really point out till this episode is that while reviewing, while after the fact, when they review their experience, they show different scenes of the group, like bowling or like shooting bows to bring up their score.
And sometimes they show like phallic symbols and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And but stuff that resembles a dick or something that resembles a vagina.
Yeah, and
it doesn't leave much to the imagination though. Like if it's a phallic symbol, it almost looks exactly like a penis, but it's not a penis.
Yeah, and that can be perfectly demonstrated with what they do later in episode 5. The first part of episode 5 is about Cyclops girls.
Oh yeah, I thought this was like kind of wholesome because a lot of the Cyclops girls were like insecure. Because, like, the smaller eyes, like, the smaller-eyed girls were, like, insecure because no one ever picked them because apparently, like, Cyclops, their almost social status is, like, determined by how big their eye is. So, like, the bigger is better, obviously. But, I mean, not really, obviously, but, like, I guess if you're a Cyclops, then it would make sense. But, like, the smaller, like, I think Zell went for a smaller-eyed girl, and she was, like, really shy. And I was like, oh, that's just so sad. And then she ended up getting a really good score from Zell. I was like, oh, and then she got really happy and shit. I was like, that's so nice. Like, in a weird way, wholesome. It's so wholesome. I love it.
And another aspect that I brought up while writing up this episode is that I like the fact that although the primary group is Stunk, Zell, and Krim, they have a rotating fourth character for different brothels, which I think is really funny because it adds,
I agree.
It adds a bit of freshness to the comedy. And after the Cyclops girls, they go to a mushroom forest with a giant pixie fairy thing named Lulu. And in the mushroom forest, I didn't really write a lot. They all chose different mushroom girls, and apparently there's a large variety of mushroom girls.
Yep.
You're gonna have to watch it, but while rating their experience with the mushroom girls, the imagery they use.
Yeah, that's the one.
Mushroom ladies fucking mushrooms while the guys rate their experience. Hugging, licking a giant mushroom penis, scissoring a goddamn mushroom, and then Krim finishing on the face.
Yes. What a slut.
Wow. There's like tiny lolly mushroom girls. There's
any mushroom girl you could want.
There's mushroom girls with like boob hats. Well, I don't know what the fuck they were.
I don't know.
And then I don't know. But my two favorite quotes from this were, "This is a forest munchie syndrome you can get from being in the forest too long, and it's a fungus fuck forest." So
that's alliteration. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
great use of alliteration by the lads.
It's completely mental.
I remember that one getting pretty good scores. The mushroom place.
Yeah.
I feel like there wasn't much downsides to that one.
To the fact that they're fungus, but you know, I think the one thing
I don't see the problem.
Episode 6. This was one of my favorites. Episode 6 is when they go to the sex marionette. They're told they're told to fuck golems, but golems are actually marionettes or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like puppets.
But apparently, they can make either puppet girls or android girls. They don't make android girls, but they hint at it. of fucking an android, and one of the android's lines is, "Hey Siri, commence activity," and it's just so fucking and then someone calls it
activity.
Now look, I don't know if this is them, like whoever subbed the episodes for the English reviewers. I don't know if they were just having fun with this, or if it's legitimately what they said.
The thing is, I don't think it can, like, half that stuff they said that was, like, really funny, I don't think is directly translated from Japanese. Like, I wouldn't, because, like, there's a lot of different slang words that we use in English versus, like, how it is in Japanese. Like, I don't think it's a direct translation. But,
yeah, but
I think a lot of it was just the sub guy, like, whoever was subbing it, having some fun with it, and basically just, like, going off. But, yeah. I mean, I bet, I can't imagine that, like, what they're saying is kind of unorthodox in Japanese as well.
Yeah, but I can confirm that the "Hey Siri" commence activity was legit, because you actually hear the marionette in Japanese say "Hey Siri." So, yeah, it's pretty good. But then the next line that made me lose my shit was one of the guys saying, "This is where you build a bitch."
Yep. Trademark.
So I think Zanchel made a marionette version of Midori, the Birdman waitress that they all lust
Yeah, the
after.
Birdmaid waitress, yeah.
And because of how impressive and to detail he made it, everyone else is just like, yes,
it does exactly the same thing.
So they all have their own Midori, and they program her with different personalities. Zanchel is real submissive, has a dog collar.
Yes.
I forgot how the others go for, but
yeah.
But when
when she finds out, it's not pretty.
Yeah, then yeah, when she reads the review, she beats the shit out of all of them.
Yep.
I think even Krim gets a little fucking punch to the head, and it's just so good. And then after the marionette one, it's when they go to
Was it worth it? Yes, it was.
After the marionette one is when they go to the public one. I don't know which chicks were the main focus of the public one. I think, no, it was one where you could, like, choose any specifications of a woman you want, and they'll have one.
Oh,
But the one downside was that you're literally fucking in a public stadium.
Yeah.
And then also, for censorship reasons, Light, I think these are angels, I don't know, but Light automatically covers up everyone's privates. So this is when they hint at how big Crib's dick is, because they flip up his thing, and then Stunk says, "Crim, you're shining brighter than the sun." It's just a giant fucking beam of light coming from his dick. Now, Jesus. Now, the one thing that also got me is that I did realize during the gender swap episode that, like, Krim is properly both genders, because I thought, it's just got a dick and a vagina. But in this episode, the Light also covers up his chest, which meaning he does have tits. They're just really flat. So he's properly both genders, and I'm just like, oh, fuck. God damn it. But then the massive penis exploding Light is the hardest I've laughed so far in this entire show.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. But then episode 7 was kind of my least favorite.
Yeah, it was very strange.
This is the egg-laying one. So
I think what happens is I'll take over the main narration from here since you did the first half. I have notes on all the second half one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically what happens is I think it starts off by, like, Midori, she's got, like, they say it's her time of the month, but actually what that means, instead of her being on her period, she's actually, like, goes and lays an egg up in, like, one of the rooms in the tavern they always go to that she works at. So she, like, I don't think she can, like, controls it, but this prompts, like, what is the Lamia guy who to like invite them to go to an egg laying show with him, and they go, and it's just all these like weird reptile chicks who come by and get paid to like to have a bunch of dudes watch them lay eggs. And it's because they come out of their, I'm assuming it's vagina, but it could also be butthole. Who knows?
Animals that lay eggs, they have something called a colchia, which is like a mixture of both. I don't know. Like, it's
weird.
Like, if you own a bird, then like the whole thing about them is like they have like the butt and everything is like all one thing. That's where they lay eggs from. So
not really,
no, it's weird. Yeah, I admit it's very weird.
But it's like all these reptile chicks, who are either like ugly, too buff, and then there's like this one weird small lady who comes in.
Bird.
Yeah, penguin. That's the one. The penguin, and the guys are all kind of like weirded out by it, as I think both of us were when we watched it. And that's pretty much all there is to this episode.
The weird thing is that the Zell and Krim were kind of interested when a bird maid actually came out to lay an egg.
Yeah.
But Stunk the entire time was just like, what the fuck? But
and they bid on the eggs too. Like all the guys that are there will like bid on them and try to buy them.
Apparently chefs can
for
use them.
Many reasons. Like the Lamia guy, who's like a snake person, wants to eat them because obviously snakes eat eggs. So he wants to eat them. They're like apparently like like newly hatched or like pooped out eggs make for really good meals. So chef wants them, and I don't know, many other people are very into it.
I just have to say my favorite quote. I don't know if I think this was the text guy just having fun with it, but when a lizard woman is shitting out an egg, the Narugami, he's the snake guy, he just yells, "Lay that fucking egg!" and he goes fucking mental. And it's I loved it. It was so funny.
Yes.
But yeah, the rest of the episode was just strange.
So after the ending, there's like a popularity poll. Like it shows the results of a popularity poll, which I think was actually given to like the actual Japanese population to like vote on their favorite girl that had appeared so far in the series. Which was very strange. I don't remember the results or who got number one or whatever, but it was kind of bizarre. It was like weirdly out of place.
I remember because every episode after the credits they air like just a little short of something random. And yeah, this episode was the popularity poll, and it was the pixie, like
the fairy receptionist girl.
The fairy receptionist was number one, and everyone else is just like, you don't even get paid for this.
You didn't even get fucked.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. So the Japanese public loved that fairy. So
yes,
that's great.
Yeah. So yeah, that was episode 7 is probably I think both of our least favorite. Like that was very strange, and there wasn't a whole lot. There was some good lines here and there, but like it wasn't on par with the rest of them. And then for the next one, episode 8, it starts off by like with this weird camera effect, like it's an old movie, and they're in a role play place. So it's a place where they give out like scripts for basically like your weird pornos, and make the girls that work there act them out. And so they allowed their customers, like the guys, to like take on the certain role. So the one they're in now is they have like a bunch of really hot female prisoners, and the guys are all dressed up like these evil people, and they're like, "We're gonna take you back to the dungeon where you're gonna get tortured or whatever, like you're gonna get punished."
I think the episode literally opens with it's just like, "What are you gonna do with us?" It's just like, "What else would a villain do?" And they're really trying to hype it up.
Yeah, something like that. So, but then like one of the girls starts acting really poorly, and Conchella's like, "I'm not on board with this. This was so bad."
Immersion ruined.
Yeah, yeah, immersion ruined because one of the girls is a shit actor, but or actress, I guess. But it was like, I thought it was like, I know it's weird, but like in a weird way, I thought it was creative. Like if I were to pick any one of these places to go, I would probably pick that one just because of that roleplay element it has to it. It just seems like it just goes the extra mile. You know, like they have so many different options. There's even like a little scene after they're gone, after the reviews are over, where they're like, where the girls are like discussing with the person in charge, like different ideas for scripts and stuff. And it's like, that's kind of weirdly cool. But yeah, but Krim is really bad at it because he's so like innocent and like just nice. So whenever the girls act like they're upset or tortured, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. But the girls have to reassure him that like, hey, I'm just playing around, like you can touch me, all this other crap. But so that's kind of funny. I like how they highlight that aspect of his character.
Yeah, I feel bad for the voice actress who had to the one that was bad that was bad at the role play, having because he was also a cowgirl. It's like you have to pretend you're being tortured, like pretend you're being bad at being tortured while making mooing sounds.
But also you're bad at acting.
I feel bad for that voice actress.
Yes, that must have been a weird day in the studio. But so after they leave the roleplay place, which I think got like fairly decent scores, they went to a actual like succubus place. Like I think definitely a more like higher level one than the one where they went to, and it took them 3 weeks to recover.
It was like a multi-level tower or something.
Yeah, it was like this big ass tower. And basically, like, you could order any type, like, you could literally give out specific details about the types of girls you want, and they would have, like, multiple options for you, since succubi can actually, like, adjust how they look to fit the customer's desires. So, literally, they step in, and Stunk is, like... He, like, gives, like, very specific details on, like, how big her tits should be, like, what her, like, how tall she is, all this other stuff. And then, like, poof, here's a girl.
That means the previous episode where I talked about the censorship one, I was actually wrong, because I thought that was this part, but it wasn't. So
yeah,
the other episode, the other episode where I talked about everyone automatically getting everything censored, that was wrong. That wasn't... So this episode is the one where they can choose whoever they want.
Yeah. And this was also, I forgot to mention, there was a really funny part during the roleplay thing where, like, the beam of light stuck out from Krim's dick again, and it was fucking huge, and the girl was like, oh my god, it's so big!
Which one of you knights wants to fall on his meat so much?
But that was when he was in the, like, the carrier or whatever, like, the little cart. So, like, she like, when he was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, and, like, she, like, kind of whips out his dick for him. He's like, oh my, she kind of goes, like, oh my god, it's so big. She just, like, immediately starts fucking, like, putting her mouth on it. It's like, attaboy.
That was so funny. Holy fuck!
It's so fucking huge. So, but what's really funny is after the lads leave the succubus tower, which is like one of the most popular brothels in the area. Because it's also like an actual succubus place, they leave and they're totally drained. So they're like walking back and they look like zombies, and it's hilarious. Like you see Mitsue, who's Zell's favorite, who's like a 50-year-old old lady. Very scary, but also she sees him, is like, you want to have fun with me, like she usually does whenever they see each other, and Zell just doesn't even respond. He's just like
and everyone's just like they've been to the tower, haven't they?
Yeah, it's like those are the faces of men who've been with succubi. It's so good. So that was pretty much all for that one. And the next one, they're on a quest to deliver... What was it? They're delivering to a vampire who'd been asleep for a decade. They're delivering something.
And like, apparently Zell is a mate of the vampire because elves live for ages.
Yes. So. Yeah, so they're friends already. But
they go to an undead brothel, and the vampire
who's like
joins
the vampire's personal, the vampire's personal brothel that he uses once every 10 years while he's awake. And
I just love that the vampire joins them and reviews with them.
He's so on board with it, dude. He's so on board with it. And
so good.
Yes, so they fuck a bunch of undead things. It's pretty funny, like, how they're treated, like, because usually only the vampire ever comes there. But Krim isn't actually with them because, he's an angel and he doesn't deal with the undead crap. So what? Like, Stunk fucks the undead receptionist girl who's, like, kind of cute but also is a zombie. Who does Zell? He has, like, I don't even remember. But the Brood, what's his name?
Bruce.
I forget.
Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce. So he has to fuck a skeleton, which is actually impossible since, they don't have anything to put it in. So that was weird. But also the vampire guy, he fucks his vampire wife, kind of. But I don't know. Like, the way they describe it is like the vampires will only fuck who they've been like sworn to already,
or whatever, yeah.
So it's weird, but but it's kind of funny the way they go about like writing the dialogue and everything. Like, the guys are just like, this is weird, but I need to get it out, so let's go.
My favorite quote from this is when they're explaining why Krim isn't with them. He says, "No, just figured if you fucked an undead, he'd probably send them to heaven for real." And then someone after says, gives a new meaning to Pussy Slayer. It's just like,
what a legend.
Fuck.
So the rest of this episode is a bit odd. Because they were gone doing the vampire quest for so long, when the lads come back, they've learned that Krim went to like a slime girl place and wrote his own review without being like dragged away by force.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
so
right.
So they kind of like recap that experience that he had there, and then also apparently there was a lesbian porn director who got herself off watching the hyena girl fuck some really shy virgin girl. She like kind of fingers herself like in the middle of her directing, which I mean, like, that's one way to get into it,
Yeah, I completely forgot about that, actually.
Yeah, that took up a solid few minutes. And basically the way they ended off is they tease what they're going to do next episode, which is how other people have started doing what they're doing, like stealing their idea and going to brothels and reviewing them. And a bunch of the other people who've started that gave all around perfect scores to one place, which is called the Magic Metropolis. So the lads are kind of like, we need to see this place. Like, this has to be a thing. So that's what they do next time. So in episode 10, they go to the Magic Metropolis. Did you have any quotes, by the way, from that one? Any other ones?
Nah, I said all the quotes already. But the other thing is that this is around the time, like episodes 8, 9, 10, and all that, is when they start leaving off their episodes with hints for the next episodes, whereas before they didn't really do that. So I think by this time they were just like, okay, we need to give people a reason to come back. And, well, as if we weren't already coming back, but now they're actually trying to
not
make
already
plot.
coming.
But yeah, next was episode 10, The Ultimate Fuck Palace.
Yes, the Ultimate Fuck Palace. That's what it is. So basically, this really, really powerful witch chick with absolutely massive tits is just an incredible witch, and she's able to create these like fully sentient clones of herself, and like theoretically an infinite number of them.
They're technically called decoy dolls, and
decoy dolls, right?
They only live for like a week or something.
Yeah, I guess I think it's 3 days is what they have there. So it's pretty cheap apparently. So like you get a full 3 days to do whatever you want with this decoy doll girl, and she's fully sentient. Like, she has all the emotions necessary, and she basically like replicates the personality of the witch, or like I guess like an emphasized version of the witch's personality. That makes her more, the decoy dolls like more desirable to the customers. So basically, you have 3 whole days to have your way with her. And every morning after you wake up and you're done, she makes you a delicious breakfast. and I mean, theoretically, you don't even have to fuck her. Like, you could just have her as your friend and go on dates for 3 days. Like,
I think they make a whole point of, like, people return because even though after 3 days your decoy doll disappears, apparently if you ever go back, it remembers you.
Yes.
Like, and then Stunk is literally won over by breakfast. It's so beautiful.
So apparently, not only is the pussy A+, but the breakfast is also A+.
That's what you want. That's what
exactly.
You want.
He makes like a comment like, I feel like I'm enjoying the newlywed life. Like, that's what it is. Like, it feels like you're on your honeymoon, even though you've barely met this chick. And so it seems like just, and then by the time it ends, like their 3-day experience ends and the girl disappears, they're all like really sad about it. Like, they get emotional. So, but when they do their reviews, they're like, because she remembers you when you come back, it's basically like just paying to have a girlfriend. And so when their reviews get spread around by these like centaur chicks, all these armies and a bunch of dudes are just like, so this is basically like having a girlfriend? And they just start flipping their shit. and they're like, we're going to this place right now. Abandon all other missions. Like, we're going to this place right fucking now. And so because of that, just a bunch of guys just set off for the magic metropolis. The giant fuck palace. So that was a good episode, though. It was funny.
I want to talk about the way the different members of the group interact with the decoy doll. Sorry.
Yes.
I'm spilling over my words. So Stunky literally just has breakfast and fucks. Like, Stunk doesn't do much else. Zell makes a point that because it is one of the smartest witches in all of the world, that she knows most things involving magic, and he makes a point of, you can learn like the highest level magic spells that you could usually have to go to a giant like expensive school from this chick for like a quarter of the price, and you can fuck her afterwards. So he literally uses her chest as a cheat sheet and remembers magic spells, and it's just like, fuck, that is amazing. And then this is the first time that anyone like gets with Krim and uses both genitalia, because apparently not only the one thing that I don't know why, it's just like this witch decoy doll bitch licks Krim's halo, and it's like no one's done that before, and Krim loses her shit. Then apparently they make a point of she's like, I'm gonna make you feel pleasure with both parts. And it's just like, oh no, Krim's getting it fucked.
He's in for it.
He's in for it. And then there's like a side plot of the Archmage wanting to use an angel sperm to create impenetrable armor.
Yeah, because I think angels by themselves are like resistant to pretty much everything, except for like a few types of magic. So theoretically, if she were to get and she did get a sample of his sperm, like, I can use this to make armor that can't be destroyed by most, like, conventional attacks. So, that was weird plot, but, I mean, sure.
But
that was...
You talk about episode 11, because there's only one thing I want to mention in episode 11.
So, basically, episode 11 was kind of weird. It starts off peculiar because it basically introduces, well, I would say introduces, but because he doesn't really stick around for very long. But it's this guy who has seen the reviews, like the lads' reviews, and is unhappy about them because he is of the opinion that all women are queens. So he goes to all of the places that they reviewed, and especially the ones that they've given bad scores, and basically he does the deed. He pays the fee and fucks the girls, and he's like, wow, that was a wonderful experience. Thank you. I rate that a 10 out of 10. And he actually, that one place, the low-level succubus place, he actually just completely destroys all the girls. Like, he actually makes them tired out instead of the other way around.
And then he gives, like, a rate of 10 to the skeleton as well.
Yes, he rates the skeleton a 10. And then when he eventually meets up with the lads, he's like, you guys are just completely ignoring the positives of all these women. All these women are completely beautiful, and they're wonderful, and I think they're queens. And even Majorie, because they meet him in the bar, like, so Majorie is interacting with this guy. Even Majorie, like, turns to the lads, who she usually is, like, not... she doesn't really want to talk to that much, and she's like, please get him out of here. Like, this is awful. And
what is it that he did? Apparently, like, every day he comes in, orders a raw egg, and sits there waiting for the group to return.
Yes, something like that. She's like, please get him out of here, for the love of Christ. And but the reason he's able to do all of this, and the reason he is of this mindset, is because he's actually an incubus, which is the opposite of a succubus, which means apparently his dick is perpetually hard. So that sounds really uncomfortable, but also I guess I can see like how this was created. So but pretty quickly, pretty soon into his conversation with the lads, he gets stabbed by his ex-girlfriend or current girlfriend or something. He gets stabbed in the heart and
he dies.
He dies, but he's actually not dead and everyone's like, well, how did he survive that? He got stabbed in the heart. It's like, turns out incubi actually have a second heart, which is constantly pumping blood to their dick. So, there you go.
But the one thing I love is that he's just introduced at the end of last episode, and he's just like, oh, this guy is going to be a dick. And he just dies in 5 minutes, and then they write him off the show.
So he's still alive. He just gets dragged to the hospital. So, yeah.
But they wrote him off.
They wrote him off. He doesn't appear after that. So yeah, thanks. Thanks for that, guy. Incubus motherfucker.
The only thing I wanted to say was that they memed in him saying, all women are queens.
Yes.
That's the only thing I wanted to say. I thought that was hilarious.
They memed him saying, all women are queens. It was great. So, there's some like stuff that kind of like happens after that. They try to get Krim to go out and review, but he's short on money, so he has to stay and work. So the lads basically stay in the tavern all night getting fucking wasted. And then eventually they're just so wasted that they're like, all right, Krim, fine, you can stay here. We're going to go put out a review. And they go, I don't even know where they go, but they blow all their money basically. So by the end of the episode, they're just completely broke. And all of the reviews they wrote while they were wasted are illegible and can't be used because they're so bad and the wording is just not gonna cut it. So this is funny. At the very last part of the episode, they're basically like, they have to go on a bunch of quests to get their money back, to regain their fortune that they use to fuck as many women as possible. So basically they go on a shitload of quests that take them all around the country, and they inadvertently save the entire world without actually realizing it. So, and they're like, even the narrator who's like narrating this part, like it's basically them, like figures of them on a map going around, and you watch them go around and like little scenes of them killing monsters. Even the narrator is like, yeah, they inadvertently saved the world, they, without actually realizing it, but that's not important. It's great. And so I kind of forget the order of events from episode 12. I think Krim most of the time is like out there in the like some Old Spice guy, not Old Spice, but like some Old Spice tree, like who like grinds spices.
I remember this. It starts off with them like, at least Stunk and Zell reminiscing, because they got business cards from every brothel they've been to, and all of the cards have notes from the girls they've been with, and then he's just like, oh, by the way, where's Krim? It is. And then like, where's Krim? And Midori says, oh, we need spices for the ale and eats, and we sent Krim off to go get spices from this old guy tree. And the tree just he takes forever, so Krem's basically not in a lot of episode 12. But, not to the end, at least. And then, so then they bring up the business card from Demon 2 for the Demon Brothel, because they completely forgot about it. So then they're just like, alright, fine. We got nothing else to do, we'll go there. And then they realize that they're getting good hospitality, and they're just like, this isn't right. Why are you giving us such good hospitality? It's just like, because you were
you got recommended by Demon 2.
Yeah,
so we have to give you
lord.
we have to give you good hospitality. Apparently, demons basically have a contract fetish where they will adhere to any and all contracts that they are given.
That's
so
right.
they give an example where it's like when you propose to a demon girl, you say, "I'll make you happy for the rest of your life." She gets like complacent and upset with you when you're not like basically serving her every whim. But if you say instead when you propose, "Let's be happy together," you now instead have a wonderful wife. So, and because essentially marriage is basically a contract. So that they give that example of like, it's very strange to have a contract fetish, but hey, I've seen weirder in this show.
Yeah, and you know what? That actually makes a lot of sense. Let's be happy together. They will strive to make both of you happy together. It's just like, oh, well, I guess that's nice, but still the demons. And then episode 12. It tries to hint that there might be more in the future. It's like what every anime does when they're uncertain if there'll be a season 2, because interspecies reviewers just kind of went in a completely different direction for the manga, and has its own, like, literally, apparently in the manga there was no fucking, apparently.
Oh.
So that's interesting. But
lame.
So they're kind of just making hints that there could be more they had like a talk with the Archmage, which they cloned herself, and the demon lolly that's a giant, and her name is apparently Death Abyss. Like, what a name. And then I thought this was hilarious. It's just like, Demon 2 comes in, he's just like, oh yeah, by the way, the reviewers finally reviewed the Demon Brothel. And then Death Abyss is just like, motherfucker, the election ended months ago. Why is this only happening now? And it's just, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
And
they're a little late. Sorry.
Yeah, and then this is when they're talking about... They start comparing different worlds and talking about the real world. Like, they're talking about airplanes and how cool that is. But then apparently he's just like, well, how do you stay safe during sex? And it's just like, they use this little rubber thing. And then...
they put it around the dick.
And the demon lolly's just like, how the hell is that meant to protect you in sex? And they just go,
it's not.
It's effective enough, but birth control.
Yes, please.
But then they end it with like an end of year celebration at the Ale and Eats, and then everyone's just like, you'll have good luck for the rest of the year if you go fuck your favorite chick first thing.
Yes.
But because of all their reviews, all the brothels where their favorite chicks are full. So then, the little fairy pixie motherfucker, the receptionist, comes out and says, why you guys fucking, here's a little business card, you won't regret this.
Yeah. And
they go to a brothel that's literally called the Dream Eater, where their favorite girls appear there as, I forgot what they're actually called, but essentially they're like kind of hallucinating, kind of not. But there's a shape-shifting chick there that allows them to basically see and experience everything they want with their favorite chick.
I believe she like puts them to sleep, and it's like a really vivid dream that they have.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
So Krim gets the hyena girl. Bruce gets like an ice bear thing that she loves.
Polar bear with huge tits.
Yeah. Zanchel gets the golem marionette thing that's meant to look like Midori. which is hilarious. And Stunk and Zell gets the old cunt that he likes. And
she's ugly.
And Stunky gets the youthful-looking elf that Zell hates, like the one they were arguing about in the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
And and then everyone, then that's it. They fuck them, and then everyone reviews them saying... Put out a
review,
because most of the reviews are good, but they will say, look, these are memories of our favourite chicks. We don't get to make new memories with them, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
Then the whole thing ends with Stunk and Zell, like, talking about, well, what's next? What do we have left? And Stunk's like, my dad has a really good harem. And Zell's just like, you want to go fuck your dad's harem? It's just like, fuck dude.
I bet.
So then, so they kind of hint that there's going to be more in the future. They're trying to leave seeds for the future with the Demon Lolly and the Archmage trying to come up with a fucking armor using angel sperm, and then then Zell and Stunk gonna go fuck the noble guy's harem. So yeah, that's how they end it, and it was really good, and they ended it on the classic anime trope of using the intro song as the outro.
Yes,
they went full balls to the wall. Favorite quotes. This is the one where they said, "We got sucked into that titty vortex next door."
Yes.
At the end of the year, it's just like interspecies reviewers. Let's get our fuck on.
That's what it's all about.
And then Zell, when he's describing his review of the Dream Eater, he's just like, plus, when you wake up, you can have sex with the Dream Eater as well. And it's just like, wow. Ain't that convenient? And it's like, it's pretty funny. But,
yes.
Yeah, that's that's us talking about the entirety of interspecies reviewers.
So I have, in my notes, I have a few thoughts that I wrote down. So I'll figure I'll just skim through it, but most of it we've already covered. But basically, my thoughts, overall, the show is an absolute joy all the way through. It's, ahead of time, like we mentioned earlier, you do have to have the right sense of humor to really appreciate it. You have to be a little fucked in the head. And if you are, like we are, then we're positive that you're gonna love it. Like, it's just, the writing and character dialogue is so witty, it's so funny, it doesn't ever slow down, it keeps you on your toes, and, because if you blink, you might miss a fucking hilarious line. So, it's just really funny, and it just keeps you paying attention all the way through. Like, the characters are written so well to a point where you feel attached to them, even though all they're doing is going around and fucking hot chicks. Like, and again, another thing about the writing is that I don't think I've heard, or I guess read, as many alternate names for a dick than I have in watching these 12 episodes. Like, so many different names for dicks that I'm going to use in my everyday life now. And it's like who the writers and just everyone who worked on this, they just did not give a shit. Like, they went balls to the wall with this show, and it shows. Like, it's just so much fun. And, about the nudity, like, you could argue, like, oh, it's just a hentai, but with some comedy in there. I think it's more than just that. Like, there's nudity, obviously, but, like, and it's a lot of parts, even though they don't actually show any genitalia, it leaves very little to the imagination. But at the same time, it's like, if you have the attitude, it's like, you're just watching this comedy and you're seeing a bunch of hot chicks naked, and you're just like, oh, that's fine. I like that. And, I'm not going to complain about that, right? Like, even though they're anime chicks, it's still like, oh, I like that. Yeah. And like you mentioned towards the beginning, this is really just like a sitcom where they just fuck a bunch of girls. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially around the middle of the show. It's a lot of just like these little mini situations, and you don't really have to see any of the previous ones to be caught up with what they're doing at this point. So like it'll be split down the middle. So like the first half they'll go to one brothel, and the second half they'll go to a completely different one. So you can kind of just hop in at any point. I mean, it's important that you see the first episode basically, but after that you could really just you could skip to like episode 7 or 8 and you just wouldn't even notice the difference. When that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's just like it just shows like how they treat it, how they designed the show, and like it works in its favor. I think like that kind of design for like and structure for the show and its episodes. So I think that was really smart of them. It's really funny, and it like I mentioned earlier, it keeps you on your toes. Like you just when you're done with one, you move straight to the other. And just the way I can't stress enough how good the character and dialogue writing is in this. It's just incredible. But it's always like I said, it's like even though they're just like the episode is like split in half and they go and do reviews of these places, it's always funny and entertaining to go watch them do that. So even if the show like feels with like maybe you're not someone who jacks off to hentai, understandable, and so you're a little weirded out by this show, like I'm not saying I jack off to hentai because, well, I haven't yet, but maybe in the future.
Don't need to go that explicit, mate. Come on.
Haven't yet. It's still waiting on that one. But it's just like it's just so much fun. Like I don't know what else to say. Like you just have to get over it. It's so worth it. It's just so much fun. Like the writing and everything in this, it's like so creatively stupid. And it's great. That's basically what I think.
You definitely have to be in that niche audience of like being comfortable with anime to the point of knowing that stuff like this exists. And if you can get into it and enjoy it, then that's all the more power to you. And like we enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more for the comedy and the writing more than everything else. I do admit, look, throughout all these 12 episodes, if you didn't pop one stiffy, then you have a problem.
You're not straight.
It's gonna happen at some point of time. Doesn't matter where, as long as it's gonna happen. All right,
you just gotta roll with it.
Just gotta roll with the punches. Yes. So, the show is very creative and hilarious with its writing. I think it's almost entirely original because I do believe, like, it does have a source material, but they just went off in a completely different direction. Yeah. And I think the show itself is really funny. It's really like appealing to look at. It's really funny. Again, I said that already, but I enjoy it. I would like to see a season 2 just to see what other wacky bullshit they get into.
Yes.
But yeah, it's definitely all about the characters, and you can tell it's a sitcom because they introduce Krim purely for the reason that they need another character just to add to the dynamic, and it's a unique character. But they had Krim, and they say, my Halo's fucked. I need to get it repaired, and it might fix by itself, or it might not. I don't know. And then they just don't even mention it again for 10 episodes, and they just become a part of the group. They mention it at episode 10, the episode when they're with the Archmage. They do bring it up again, and it says it should fix by itself, but they don't know how long it will take. So then Krim's just there for the long haul now. So.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I really do like the show, and all the characters were well written. You didn't really dislike any character. The one guy that was killed off fairly quickly, he was purposely a dick. Yes. Like, he was very on purpose a dick, but he was also still incredibly funny.
Yes.
Oh, women are queens.
Queens. If she breathes, she's a thought.
Anyway, broke my voice.
Nice.
Yeah, but I thought the show was really good, and I hope this doesn't prevent me from any future work opportunities, because people know that I watch and enjoy the show. So,
well,
yeah.
It's probably fine.
Pop the stiffy while watching this show. I'm not lying. It was good.
Hey, listen up, my future employers. I got a massive erection watching an anime.
It was shining
Fire
brighter
me.
than the sun. All right. Fuck you. Anyway, if there's nothing else,
No, I'm good.
then that's all we got for you guys. We hope
Post-nut clarity.
now there isn't any current legal platform, I think, apart from Anime Lab, that's streaming it, and even then, I think the Anime Lab version is incredibly censored. So,
Boo.
yeah, watch the show if it sounds appealing to you. We did kind of spoil the entire thing. We should probably add a spoiler warning at the start.
Yes.
Oh well. But yeah, we hope you enjoy it, and over the course of the next few weeks, we're going to be doing album reviews for newer rock albums from artists that we enjoy, as well as different anime. All because, literally, in the time that we live in currently, it's difficult to avoid the topic of the pandemic that's occurring, and
Things
we don't
are being
want...
cancelled.
Yeah, we don't want every week to be pandemic, and whatnot. But
So it leaves us with limited options because like so much shit is being cancelled. Like
I think we might probably review WrestleMania or try and just watch it for a special episode if we can. Or one of the two nights or something like that. We'll try and do something for WrestleMania, but otherwise for the incoming weeks we're going to do anime and album reviews. And then, yeah, we'll see what goes on from there. But thank you all so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed. If you want to chat to us or give us any anime to watch and review,
or send us pictures of your stiffy.
Or that. Or let us know your favorite chick from Interspecies Reviewers.
Let us know. Do that.
Yes, let us know in the comments down below or at our email at firestormproductions2@gmail.com. Go to Gus for the social media plug. Yeah, okay, I'll do it then. Fine. Questions and suggestions and all that bullshit go to everywhere. And follow, emails and all that shit. We don't have a good structure anymore. We fail at life. And follow us on Twitter.
I've long since accepted that.
Follow us at Twitter at FireStormPod for good penis jokes, and we'll be a little bit more honest about Interspecies Reviewers up there. Actually, we were incredibly honest here, but we're going to be talking a lot more about other shit on the Twitter, so follow us there. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a good one, guys.
Papa Stiffy.